Welcome to another edition of LatiNation Football Club. I'm right here with Camila Ortiz, and we are ready to dive into the biggest headlines of this week en el mundo del fútbol. That's right, Leagues Cup se pintó de mexicana la Leagues Cup. Camila, it was an exciting week for the Mexican teams. We're going to talk about Liga MX, Liga MX Femenil, a lot of drama in the international football world. Infantino is being criminally accused by no other than UEFA. This is going to get really, really spicy, Camila, and also so much more in the world of football. ¿Cómo estás?
I'm doing great. First of all, let's kick it off with Leagues Cup. I want to talk about it because, like I said a couple episodes ago, this is what I wanted to see. Past couple Leagues Cups, we've seen MLS dominance, but here, this Leagues Cup, this script has been completely flipped around, and we are seeing only Liga MX going into the semifinals.
Let's take a look at what's happening right now with the bracket, Camila, because this bracket is looking really,
Insane.
really Mexican.
It is.
León, invicto, undefeated. Los Panzas Verdes, they were able to beat every single MLS team that they face. Real Salt Lake City, we were talking about it last week, one of the best teams in MLS currently, and they were able to just kick them out of the competition. Then Toluca, a great team con el Turco Mohamed at the helm, beat Austin 2-0. Then Monterrey with Diego Rossi and Hugo Kuipers defeating the later former team Chicago 2-1. Again, neutral ground. Chicago wasn't playing at home. And then America came to Los Angeles and also defeated Columbus, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, 2-0 to set up the semifinals. Walk us through the semifinals, Camila.
Yes, absolutely. Going into the semifinals, we have León, Toluca, America, and Monterrey. This is all going down September 1st and September 2nd. This is going to be really, really interesting, right? I want to look back. I know we talked last weekend. I think the biggest surprise for me, America versus Columbus Crew. Columbus was playing incredibly, and America was still able, to get ahead in that game. And I think they are absolutely one of the biggest contenders going into the semifinals.
Now, this is clear. Liga MX at this moment is better than MLS. The teams that came to play, they really showed up. I think that this is proof that Liga MX is still live and well.
Definitely.
And they are competing at the highest level. There was roaming. This also, let's just talk about it, Camila. This is a very unbalanced tournament. Most of the games are being played in the United States. I think that if they were having to travel to Mexico and go play at some of these stadiums, they wouldn't be as successful, and it might be just a complete wipe from the Liga MX. There's some powerful teams, but at the same time, some of the best teams didn't make it. Let me come back to my sharing my screen with all of you, because I think that this is important. Let's see the standings of the competition after the first round, the phase one standing, Camila. Look, we have León, as we said, invicto, no defeats in the group stage, defeating everyone. America, Toluca, and Monterrey. But the champion Cruz Azul, right there with Juárez, that is the very dead last of Liga MX, was able to win 2 games. Tigres, that is also doing poorly on Liga MX, about 16th in the table there. And then you have big ones of Mexico that are doing really well in the domestic tournament that maybe they chose not to compete. Some of them, Cholos at the very bottom of the table, really, really weird being the second place in Liga MX. What do you make out of this standing for el lado de Liga MX?
Yeah, I mean, I think these standings are somewhat confusing, right? You have León, who's the number 1 seed right now, but in 8th place in regular standings. I think, it goes to show that when you come into a new tournament and you come into a tournament in general, it's a level playing field, right? It doesn't really matter the standings that you're coming from in your own league. It just matters how you play in the tournament. And I think you're absolutely right. It's a little bit, crazy to me to see these teams that are doing really well in the regular season of Liga MX just come to Leagues Cup and not perform at all.
Now, Camila, let's go take a look at MLS.
Yep.
Chicago, that we were already talking about Chicago as a team that was really, really improving week after week in MLS. I've been praising the work that the coach is doing. Belharter taking helm of the organization. First place in the group stage. Austin, always a difficult team, but not one of the best in MLS by far. Then Columbus, without a doubt, teams that are proud representatives of MLS. Probably 2 of the best teams that are playing currently right now in the league. And then we have LAFC that is definitely in a rut, and the rut began when they couldn't even defeat Querétaro. Los Gallos Blancos del
Yeah.
Querétaro went to BMO and made it hard for LAFC. That says a lot about Liga MX. When a regular Liga MX team can go and, just make life difficult to one of the most expensive squads in MLS. San Diego all the way to the bottom. And this is, to me, the most surprising result of League's Cup. Vancouver, Camila, in very last place. Please riddle me that.
Yeah, this is, quite a surprise. Even if we look 2-3 seasons ago, I feel like when I started really getting into watching the MLS, Vancouver was always, a top team. They were strong. They were all around, just a good squad. And it seems like they're in this sort of rebuilding era, but I don't know, just something is not clicking for this squad.
Without a doubt, Camila. Now, let's talk about the reality of MLS. Now, we saw League's Cup. We know that the semifinals are coming up. These teams are already playing 2 more games because they're going to play the semifinal, and either they play the final match or the game for the 3rd and 4th place. It's going to be exciting ending for the League's Cup. Remember, guys, Toluca versus León and America versus Monterrey. Let's share on our screen one last time
so
everybody can see and make sure. Look at that. Toluca. Predictions, Camila. Let's go for some predictions real quick. America, Monterrey to begin with.
I'm going to go with America. They have the deepest roster. This is the team that, we saw them play against LAFC and they were not making it easy. This is a squad that has a lot of chemistry and I really expect them to come into that. Monterrey, we know, has been a little iffy so far in regular season. So I definitely see a team like America who's, a little bit more experienced and seasoned in these type of matches, be able to keep their cool because Monterrey's been playing angry recently, and I do not think that's going to hold up in the League's Cup semifinal.
Great analysis, Camila. Now, on the other side of the bracket, we have Toluca versus León. I'm going to have to go with Toluca for this one.
Okay.
I think that Mohamed is the defining factor for this series. I saw León play, a very difficult team, very dangerous team, but Toluca just have a oficio. They have experience and they have the know-how of win finals and important games. So I foresee Toluca really making it to the final to then a re-release, Camila. Toluca versus America, now becoming a clásico of the finals if it repeats itself. What will be your prediction on a Toluca versus America final?
Oh, this is hard. I mean, we know Toluca is the CONCACAF Championship Cup holder right now, defeating Tigres in penalties in May. So I definitely think we know that they're able, to rise to the occasion when it comes to these type of high-stake, high-level games. But America, man, they've been playing really well recently. So honestly, I'm going to have to give it to America on this one. I also think, it depends where they play. We gotta wait it out and see.
I want to show you guys the best players of League's Cup so far, Camilita.
Let's see it.
Brian Rodriguez from America with 3 goals. Y Daniel Arcila with 4 goals from León. We have Alexis Vega on a rebirth after not playing a single minute during the World Cup. And maybe on that last game against Argentina, an opportunity. Key passes, 16 key passes, orchestrating the midfield and the attack for Toluca. Again, on shots, Daniel Arcila, one of the most dangerous players of League's Cup. Shots on target, he leads as well. Juan Guevara. So we can see that León really took this tournament to heart. And now at the top. Portland, the top scoring team. León, the most collaborative of them all. Any final remarks on League's Cup before we go?
Not on League's Cup, but a quick update for MLS. We know that the 2026 MLS season is the last spring to fall season. The league's shift to the summer to spring calendar starting in the 2027-2028. This is just, a bit of information if you didn't know. I'm interested to see, the adjustment from these players, from the league overall, but just a key fact information.
And just to tie it back, this might affect how we play League's Cup in the future because as the calendars change, maybe this becomes a summer preseason tournament. Now, my friends, we have to go on a break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching LatiNation Football Club. amigos? Welcome back. This is LatiNation Football Club y continuamos con más fútbol. I'm Marcelino Ortiz and I'm breaking down everything that is happening on Liga MX here with Camila Ortiz. Camila, I'm going to have to say it, but America is the best team of Liga MX, continues to be the only undefeated team. I know you've been singing their praises. To my disgrace, Camila, it will be your own.
I know.
They're hyping up your eterno rival. Pero bueno, please break it down. Let me share the screen. Let's see the standings and let's see the proof is in the pudding. America es super líder del fútbol mexicano. Please, Camila, break it down for us.
Absolutely. We saw this weekend America defeating Juarez. This was actually my favorite game of the weekend. We saw Estupiñán scored an early goal for Juarez. They were leading at the 33rd minute, but not soon after in the 38th minute, America came back. They ultimately won the game 2-1. But hey, it was a pretty even game. And I think, had this game gone the other way around, this would have been a massive win for Juarez, who is sitting at dead last. But also, you got to give props to America for ultimately showing up. It wasn't pretty, but they got the W, and a win is a win. They got those 3 points and continue their unbeaten record.
Camila, let's take a look at the performance of these players this season. A revival of Henry Martin. We are seeing a player that has been struggling for the last couple of seasons, that fell out of favor with the national team. And now, little by little, he's becoming one of the most important players. Now, pair him with Rayito Rodriguez, un viejo conocido de nosotros from his LAFC days. Vega, that is playing at a very high level. Violante, that we all know his quality. Cervantes, Sanchez. Look at these scores. Everyone above 7.0. El portero Cota having one of the extraordinary season. Camila, what is the secret sauce to America's success?
I think it's that depth of roster, right? Not only do they have amazing starters, but we know someone gets hurt. If the coach wants to make a quick decision for a sub, we know that the person coming on the field is going to be a quality person. Of course, I think Martin is, the superstar so far of this season, scoring a brace this weekend, helping the team get the W. And sometimes it's just, it's just your season. And it just seems like this is, unfortunately, it hurts me to say it, this is America's season.
Ay, Camilita, no me digas eso, por favor.
I'm sorry.
This is tough to hear. Let's take a look at the table. Luis Cárdenas, my friend, he is probably very, very happy because Los Zorros del Atlas are right there on second place, dethroning Los Cholos, que estaban ahí as one of the top teams. They fell all the way down to 6, but we have Atlas, Toluca, Chivas y Puebla completing the top 5. We were not expecting La Franja del Puebla to be there. Atlas, they have been rebuilding for a long time. They have a new coach. They have a new momentum, and they're playing really, really well. What do you make up of this top 8, from Leon all the way to America that are, taking control of the standing?
I actually want to talk about Leon. I think this is, a team that's slowly been building their momentum. We know they beat Monterrey 2-0 on their 82nd anniversary as a club. So obviously this was a big feel-good moment. I think they're also flying and doing really well in Leagues Cup. So I think if they hold on to this momentum, this is a team that I definitely see being an underdog. If they can stay in that top 8 going into La Liguilla, it's going to be, I think exciting to watch.
And Camila, let's take a look at the performance of the team. Look at these key players that we have right now for Leon. Cambindo, we saw him this week in Leagues Cup playing at a really, really high level, scoring a lot of goals. One goal, 1 assist in Liga MX. Then he repeats the performance in the midweek. Arcila, again, like we said earlier in the previous segment, one of the top players of Leagues Cup, continues to be a standout in Liga MX. Rodriguez, obviously, the head of the midfield. Cortizo, also a very incisive outside back. The back line, that has been consistently good. A good keeper. A good keeper in Garcia. Camila, before we go, let me share my screen one more time to see the upcoming games. We have a couple of minutes right here. Check these games, Camila. Atlante versus León. Prediction?
It's going to be a good match. Oh, León, of course. León has been playing well in Leagues Cup. Atlante is in, I believe, 13th place right now. I don't see it going the other way.
What a night we're going to have tonight. Necaxa versus Cruz Azul.
Oof, this is going to be a hard one. They're right next to each other. Necaxa is just above Cruz Azul. I could see this being a tie because I think both teams are really going to want it.
Tijuana versus Pumas. Tijuana comes from a a bashing from Chivas.
That's true.
5-0. Pumas is trying to get a hold of the season. Maybe Chino Huerta's news is going to give them an upbeat. What is your prediction?
I'm gonna think positively, and I'm gonna go Pumas.
Pumas. Let's go Pumas. Now, el sabadito. Atlas contra Querétaro.
Atlas.
Atlas
you, Luis.
fighting to get there on the first spot. Pachuca contra Chivas.
Ooh, this is going to be a good game. This is one of the must-watch games of the season. I'm gonna go Chivas because they had a really, really good pass game.
I'm going to say Pachuca because after that header from the goalkeeper, this team is going to have the belief through the roof. América contra Puebla. This might be tricky for Las Águilas.
I definitely think so. We know Puebla is sitting in 5th place right now. Definitely a surprise for Liga MX, and I love an underdog, so I'm going to go Puebla.
Ponte la del Puebla, ráyate y a ver si se sacan los 3 puntos. Santos contra Tigres. Our Tigritos really, really struggling this season in the lower bottom of the table. Do you think they might get a win? New coach, Bucetich, a historical from Liga MX.
Santos sitting in 17th place, Tigres sitting in 15th place. I'm going to give it to Tigres just because they're just above them in the standings.
And Bucetich is a great coach that normally knows how to bring the essence of Tigres. He's a loved one of the afición. Toluca contra Juárez. This is unfair just to pronounce.
This is unfair. It's always going to go Toluca, but of course I love an underdog, like I said, and I love Juárez. So I'm gonna say Toluca is probably gonna win, but I hope Juárez pulls off a miracle and wins.
No, I don't think so. Los Bravos will not be brave en el infierno. El Nemesio 10 is a very difficult stadium, Camila. Monterrey contra San Luis. I think that San Luis had a big game versus Pachuca, but I don't think it's going to carry on. I think Monterrey is going to win this one.
I second you on that one. What do you think about Puebla-Toluca?
Oh, yeah, we're moving to the next one then. Puebla-Toluca, I think that is going to be Toluca. I think Puebla still is getting there, but I think Toluca is just a very good team this season. And Alexis Vega is playing at a really good level, and I think they will take control even as a visitor. And finally, next Friday, September 4th, right here on LatiNation, we're going to have Juárez versus Pachuca. Camila, do you think Juárez can give the surprise and give us una alegría a la afición de LatiNation?
I mean, it could be. Pachuca's in 14th place right now. It doesn't seem like they're much of a threat this season. So, you know what? Maybe let's go Juárez. Who knows? Maybe they're going to beat that losing streak that they've got going on.
Ponte bravo, Juárez. Ponte bravo. Camila, we have to go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on LatiNation Futbol Club.
It's usually a 2-horse race. Houston or Jacksonville, with Indy on the outside looking in. We're going to find out, I think, rather quickly in the first month because the scheduling is absolutely brutal this year. And do yourself a favor. Now is the time to start prepping. You talk about contests, Craig, right? Survivor is all about planning.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
I do not think that history suggests the best thing for a quarterback is to start week one. Obviously, you need reps, but we have seen guys sit and benefit from it. I think Anthony Richardson might have a completely different, couldn't have been any worse if the Colts didn't play him his rookie season as the rawest quarterback ever drafted. That didn't help.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Ohtani, he's going to be the MVP. The PCA argument, I completely understand. If he ends up winning it, I'm not going to be surprised. And I do think it'll be somewhat of the fatigue as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking back, Tom, you and I, 10 years and talking about a player in baseball doing what Ohtani's doing and not winning the MVP. I mean, it seems crazy to me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
are back here on LatiNation Football Club, my friends. I'm still with Camila Ortiz, and it's time to talk about El Fútbol de Estufa, all the transfer rumors that are happening right now in the world, Camila. Now, are you all settled?
I'm all settled. My headphone wasn't in, but I'm ready to go.
Perfect. You're ready to go. Let's do this, Camila. Tell me, what are some of the biggest transfer rumors that you're hearing, the ones that are happening right now? I have some right here that I'm going to share, but I want to hear yours first.
Absolutely. Let's go into some confirmed transfers. First of all, the most expensive British player ever to be traded, Morgan Rogers, leaving Aston Villa and going to Chelsea for 117 million euros. That's a lot of money. The most expensive British player ever. This is big, big news. And Man City breaking their own transfer record for Elliot Anderson, leaving Nottingham Forest for Man City for 116 euros. It looks like, the Brits are really doing well this season.
They're spending money without a doubt, Camila. Always Premier League is the one that spends the most in transfers. They have the biggest names, and they continue to be one of the most attractive leagues. Look at these players that are incoming. Leon Goretzka, that had an amazing season with Bayern Munich, is moving to Aston Villa. We have Omar Marmoush. We already have heard of this one, but now it is confirmed on loan from Manchester City to Tottenham. A lot of changes in Manchester City with the new coach, Maresca. And then Liam Delap going from Chelsea to Nottingham Forest.
Seeing a swap there with Anderson.
A little swap there, 60 million down the road. Nico Gonzalez leaving Manchester City to Newcastle. And then I want to go down because I find this very, very interesting. Ayoub Bouadi, one of the most exciting young players of the World Cup, for $110 million from the French giant Lille to Manchester City to become their new promise, the new El Gilberto Mora del Manchester City. And also, another big one that actually benefits the MLS is Bril Embolo, the Swiss player that we saw in the semifinal against Argentina. Playing at a really, really high level, getting that controversial second yellow card for simulation. Now arrives to Atlanta United for $18 million on one of the most expensive transfers. Atlanta is spending some big money.
The World Cup really put this spotlight on for, certain players to get really flashy with their national teams. And it was interesting to see how people's performance during the World Cup gave them this immense boost in, the transfer market.
And speaking of getting a boost from your World Cup performance, Camila, Bocinha, the Cape Verde captain, the goalkeeper, and one of the legends of the World Cup that became super famous, just started his career with Chile, with Colo-Colo, making a debut, keeping the close sheet, the 0 in the back, even when he has one of the most embarrassing mistakes on a debut that I've seen in a long time, with the ball being dispossessed of him in the small box.
No.
But to his blessing, there was no goal. He missed it just by a little bit, and he continued to have a clean slate for the Colo-Colo team. Camila, let's take a look at this quick video that we have to remember how did Bocinha went from a complete unknown to now a national legend.
Bocinha mania is still going strong. And let's be real, before this summer, how many of us actually knew where Cabo Verde was without having to Google it? Exactly. But that's the beauty of football. It introduces us to new countries, new communities, and gives us completely unexpected players to root for. After keeping 2 clean sheets during this summer, Josimar Jose Évora Diaz, better known as Bocinha, quickly became a fan favorite around the world. And all that love came with options. His breakout moment put him on the radar of several clubs, and he even had the luxury of turning down a $1 million offer from David Beckham's Inter Miami. His reason? Well, he didn't want to become just a marketing move. He wanted a team where he could keep doing what he got everyone talking in the first place, showing the world what he can do on the pitch. So at 40 years old, Bocinha decided to take on a completely new adventure, joining one of South America's historic clubs, Colo-Colo in Chile. Bocinha! Bocinha! And something tells me that we haven't heard the last of him. I don't know about you guys, but these international tournament Cinderella stories, they're part of what makes this tournament so special. I can't wait to find out who the next Air host will be in 4 years.
What about that, Camila? Se vale soñar, ¿no?
Pretty incredible. I think one of the most heartwarming stories to come out of the entire World Cup.
Well, there you have it. We have to go on a break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Más Futbol here at LatiNation Football Club.
It's usually a two-horse race. Houston or Jacksonville, with Indy on the outside looking in. We're going to find out, I think, rather quickly in the first month, because the scheduling is absolutely brutal this year. And do yourself a favor. Now is the time to start prepping. You talk about contests, Craig, right? Survivor is all about planning.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
I do not think that history suggests the best thing for a quarterback is to start week one. Obviously, you need reps, but we have seen guys sit and benefit from it. I think Anthony Richardson might have a completely different, couldn't have been any worse if the Colts didn't play him his rookie season as the rawest quarterback ever drafted. That didn't help.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Ohtani, he's going to be the MVP. The PCA argument, I completely understand. If he ends up winning it, I'm not going to be surprised. And I do think it'll be somewhat of the fatigue as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking back, Tom, you and I, 10 years and talking about a player in baseball doing what Ohtani's doing and not winning the MVP. I mean, it seems crazy to me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back, my friends. This is LatiNation Football Club, and it is time for European football. That's right, the return of El Compa Nik after a few weeks traveling around the world as he normally does. Compa Nik, you are back, my friend. Champions League is back. Are you excited or what?
Oh my God, I'm pumped. We got new teams we've never seen before.
Oh,
we got the same old squad going head to head. It's gonna be, it's gonna be amazing. I mean, Champions League, Marcel. Hello. Always a pleasure.
Champions League to its best, my friend. Now, who are the teams that you are the most excited for this competition?
Okay. Let me start with the obvious ones first, and then we can get into my passion, the underdogs, the first timers, the debutants. What I learned from this draw today is that we're going to see a lot of good squads going head to head early on in the tournament. And if you want to talk about the format change again, to remind people, we can get into that too, but that's part of it. Barcelona facing PSG, that's going to be a huge one. I've been a Manchester City fan for a while. I've grown to love Erling Haaland and the whole squad at Czechity, especially post World Cup. So Man City, Arsenal, who drew Real Madrid, by the way, that's going to be cool. Bayern Munich turning out to be an absolute powerhouse in this tournament as well, as we saw last year. So yeah, I mean, and then we got the Liverpools, the Atletico Madrids, and the Inter Milans down below. But those top big teams going head to head, that's what I'm looking out for.
Now, Nick, let me pull up these that will define the next 6 or 7 months of our existence. Check this out. Look at the games that we have in hand, my friend. Let's start with the champions, the current champions of the competition, Paris Saint-Germain. We're going to have some amazing games. Barcelona, Manchester City, Roma, Aston Villa, Galatasaray, Villarreal, Bratislava, y one very dangerous Italian Como team that is small in name but big in the standings, my friend. What do you think?
Big in the
Repeat?
standings. Big names too for Como. Look, maybe not on the field. They don't have a bunch of household names. Coached by Fabregas, Thierry Henry, a co-owner of the club as well, bringing this squad up from like this meteoric rise to the Serie A, and now here they are in the Champions League. Are you kidding me? They do not have an easy path forward, obviously, because they're a lower ranked squad. But it's going to be fascinating to watch Como. I hope that they do good things. I hope that they kind of become what we saw, with other teams recently, where they just play with the heart and they surprise and they make magic happen on the field and maybe even pull out some upsets. Who knows? But that first line, you're right.
Now,
madness. It's going to be insane.
Insane. It's going to be hard for PSG to repeat the championship. Now, Arsenal was the best team in the past league phase of the Champions League. It's going to be tough. They have big teams in front of them. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Real Betis, Lille, Napoli, that's always dangerous, and Sabah and Slavia Praha. Nick, do you think Arsenal, with its current form and its current roster, is also going to be a team to watch on this Champions League season?
100%. Arsenal is back, baby. Speaking of Thierry Henry, like they're back. I love Arsenal. I had an absolute blast watching them. Not because they're an exciting, sexy, fun, flashy squad. They were literally the opposite, but they were playing great football and they got really far. And I honestly, for a while, thought they were going to take it all the way. But you missed one very important squad there on that list, mister, and that is Viking. Viking from Norway making their debut, coming in all the way from Norway. Norway making a name for itself on the world stage at the World Cup, thanks to Holland. But now they're wiggling their way through into the Champions League as well. Them and Glimt.
Now, before we move on to big news on the UEFA headquarters, Nick, I want to pull up the teams that are in the number 4 pot, the bottom of the classification for Champions League. Now, these are the underdogs, as you call them. These are the stories that we follow since last season. Tell me, Nick, what can we expect from these teams? Do you see any of these actually pulling a surprise?
Oh, boy. Last year, Marcelino, you sent me where? You sent me to Azerbaijan. You sent me to Kazakhstan. You sent me all over the world, getting me hyped, getting me pumped for these squads, only to be disappointed.
I know.
It's a beautiful dream fairy tale story, but at the end of the day, what we see tends to happen is these squads, like Sabah here on this bottom list that you're talking about, again from Azerbaijan, they're going to come out, they're going to play with heart. They won, sure, their Azerbaijanian title, but they're not going to do great, unfortunately. It's what we saw with Kairat Almaty from Kazakhstan, who hosted Real Madrid, got blown out. And then, the same thing with that other Azerbaijani squad last year as well. But it's a feat that they've made it here, that they've made a name for themselves. And I have a fun fact for you for Sabah, by the way. And I think that is very worth noting. Their coach is Lithuanian. His name's Valdas Dambrauskas. I'm reading it here. I hope I got that right. He once financed a trip to England to pursue his coaching career with money that he won on Lithuania's version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So
no way.
These squads, they have these fascinating stories to them, these storylines that are not just, whoa, this small club made it all the way to the champion. No, it's more than that. It's also that they have these amazing histories and these amazing passionate fans in these small cities and towns and countries that they might come from. No one might have thought of Azerbaijan when it comes to football, at least. It's their job to kind of put them on the map.
And now in the map they are. But my friend, you know who is also in the map and in the headlines? The president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino. Nick, tell me, what is happening today between UEFA and Gianni Infantino?
All right. So basically, in court filings, this is what we know so far. UEFA is accusing Infantino of possible criminal mismanagement. And those words are key. They argue the proposed deal could have harmed FIFA and its 211 investors and everybody basically involved in structuring that transaction. So they're calling it more than just distasteful. They're calling it more than just sort of selling out the game. They're saying his mismanagement of this whole thing is actually criminal. They're trying to tie Infantino to criminal wrongdoing. And tying that to this deal, are they sending a message
Look
to
at the
Infantino?
headline of The Guardian. Look at that. UEFA preparing to bring criminal claims against Gianni Infantino over World Cup sale. Woo!
There you go. And this is a man who's gotten a lot of criticism over the World Cup in general. And maybe this is UEFA's way of pushing back on all of that at once. Don't Americanize UEFA the way you Americanized, United States-ized the World Cup. Don't try that over here. It could
Look
be
at
a
that
message
highlight.
they're sending. Read
The
that. What
court
does it say? It's
documents
too
pay
small, I can't see.
particular attention to the absurdly low enterprise value of only approximately 20 billion implied by Infantino's scheme to sell a 20% chunk of FIFA tournament for 4.2 billion. Just give me 20 for it, dude. Just throw a 20 and a 40 ounce and I'm good to go. Nick, what is happening with world football, my friend?
Nothing is happening. This man was put there. The USA did this. I'm sorry, but the USA did this. What happened to the last FIFA president, Sepp Blatter? The DOJ went after him. FBI arrested him. And we got rid of old money, good old money laundering through Monaco, maybe some offshore accounts in the Caribbean, good old European, classic type of criminality to this kind of stuff, the overt stuff, like give me all of your money shakedown kind of stuff. Who's got the highest bid kind of stuff? Where can we shove more commercials kind of stuff? You know, I mean, it's this is what we got. This could spell the beginning of the end for Infantino as the president
Without
of FIFA.
a doubt.
It could.
The soap opera se va a poner buenísima. Compa Nick, thank you so much for being here with us. We are so happy to have you back. And now that the Champions League is back, I know that we're going to see you often. Any trips that you have planned for the future? Any exotic destinations in the UEFA calendar that you are eyeing?
Nothing for now. Maybe a quick pop over to Rome in September. But other than that, you know what? Your boy's actually going to be stateside for once because I got a big boy job and can't go anywhere anymore.
Look at you going places. Well, we will be happy to have you here in LA, my friends. And we have to go on a quick break. Don't you go anywhere. Aquí seguimos en LatiNation Futbol Club. Here on LatiNation Football Club, my friends. Yo soy Marcelino Ortiz, your host, and I'm sharing this amazing hour of football con Camila Ortiz. And Camila, yo sé que ya se acabó el Mundial, but I want to talk about Mexico national team because there's a new era. There's a new era for Mexico. Rafa Márquez, the new coach. Andrés Guardado, the new assistant. What are your expectations, Camila? A lot of questions. We're going to have Mexico contra Colombia, a great game because Colombia was a really good team during the World Cup. Mexico contra Peru, that's going to be an unknown. Peru is a tough team, not a qualifying team for the World Cup, so this is more of a sparring. And again, Chile here in el Coliseum de Los Angeles, that seems to be more of a sparring game. Chile is in a complete rebuilding process, but I think Colombia is the important game. And then use the opportunity to see a lot more young players, I feel. Rafa Márquez, talk
Absolutely. I mean, I think my expectation for Rafa Márquez in the entire, Mexican national team is to keep the same energy and keep the same style and level of play as we saw in the World Cup, right? For the first time ever, Mexico went for a perfect record in the qualifying round. I think this was such a special World Cup. They felt like a special energy. I had not seen them play the way they did in the World Cup, I don't think ever in my life and all of the other World Cups. So what I'm expecting is to keep that level. Let's not bring it back down. Let's keep building upon a great squad of, like you said, young talent and foster that. And, hopefully come back bigger and better for next World Cup.
Okay, but can we take a second and appreciate this? Rafa Márquez is now officially the new head coach of the Mexican national team, and I couldn't be more excited. I've looked up to Rafa for as long as I can remember, so seeing him lead El Tri, it just makes sense. And the fans are also very excited, so let's see what they say.
What are your expectations now that Rafa Márquez is going to be head coach of Mexico?
La historia hay que cambiar. La historia hay que cambiar, and I'm already excited. It's like we don't have to wait 4 years. First game of Rafa Márquez is going to be in September, and we're going to be there.
That's a really good sign, guys. That means we're ready to go for the next 4 years. There's a lot of hope, and hoping that that's going to pull through for us to win the next cup.
Rafa Márquez is a little bit of a light of a hope that maybe the process can be more than 4 years, make it 12, make it 16.
I'm expecting more just passion and more players to practice more, and for Mora to do better. I think he's an amazing player, but he has a lot of time. He'll be 21 when he plays, so he'll definitely get better, and they might make it to the World Champions 2030, so.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I am excited. I think he's going to turn that team around. I mean, the team's already trending in the right direction. We honestly should have beat England. Very close game, but I think in the next upcoming tournaments, Mexico's going to do really well.
Well, it's safe to say that the excitement is real. Now it's all about trusting the process and giving Rafa the time and support to build something special. His official debut on the sidelines is coming up soon in Mexico's first matches under his leadership, so all eyes will definitely be on El Tri. 2030 may still feel far away, but the journey starts now. And honestly, I can't wait to see where it takes us.
There you have it, Camila. The expectations are high for the new Mexican coach. Do you want to revisit some of the stats that we had in the World Cup?
Let's
take a look at what Mexico was able to achieve on the World Cup. Just to remind, Julián Quiñones, that is shining in Saudi Arabia with 4 goals. Johan Vázquez, that we know the level of player that he is, 237 passes. Roberto Alvarado, Raúl Jiménez, the leaders of the team. As we can see, Roberto Alvarado, you were just singing his praises earlier today, playing at a really high level. This is going to be hard to match. I think that Mexico had everything going on for them on this World Cup. We were at home. The people were with the team. Like you said, the team was playing at a really high level. How can Mexico continue to have this mystique, this connection to the people? Are these 3 games that are going to come up important to continue the belief and having an easier way? Because you know how in Mexico they get crazy right away. The first result that doesn't go our way, people just freaks out.
Definitely. I think that these first 3 matches are crucial to keep this momentum going. I think, like you said, the reason why this World Cup was so special for Mexico is because the fans, who are, I think, one of the most critical fans in all of the national teams. We know that the Mexican fans, the second that something doesn't go our way, like you said, people tend to hop off the boat and they get really critical. So I think it was so special and magical that we had everybody behind the team. And I think that in order to keep that going, which is what ultimately fuels the players, we got to keep winning, guys. I also think the game at home in LA, which is like a second home for Los Mexicanos, is definitely going to be crucial to make sure that they got the support of the people behind them.
You know, we'll be there at the Coliseum supporting El Equipo Mexicano, Camila. But let's take a look at this preview of what we can expect on the next World Cup on 2030.
Do you remember when we were literally counting down the days until the biggest soccer tournament of the summer? I still can't believe it's already over. For 39 days, we got to experience non-stop soccer with 48 teams across the host countries, Canada, US, and Mexico. In total, we watched 104 matches, 78 in the US, 13 in Canada, and 13 in Mexico. We celebrated 308 goals. This summer, we did it all. We hit watch parties, interviewed legends, celebrated with fans from all over the world, and even traveled to Guadalajara, where I got to share some of my favorite stories. But my absolute favorite moment was getting to cheer from the inside of the stadium, dressed as La Catrina Andante, playing the drums alongside the supporters. Looking around and seeing an entire stadium singing at the top of their lungs gave me chills. I'm definitely sad it's over. But now I have something else to look forward to. The next World Soccer Tournament is set for 2030, hosted by Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, with special opening matches in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, because it marks the tournament's 100th anniversary. So you already know it's going to be unforgettable. Right now, it's scheduled for June 8th through July 21st, a 44-day tournament, which would make it the longest World Cup ever. Officially, there will be 48 teams, but there are already conversations about expanding it to 64. We'll have to wait and see. One thing I do know, it's already marked on my calendar.
And with that, my friends, we go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Más Futbol here on LatiNation Futbol Club.
It's usually a two-horse race, Houston or Jacksonville, with Indy on the outside looking in. We're going to find out, I think, rather quickly in the first month, because the scheduling is absolutely brutal this year. And do yourself a favor. Now is the time to start prepping. You talk about contests, Craig, right? Survivor is all about planning.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I do not think that history suggests the best thing for a quarterback is to start week one. Obviously, you need reps, but we have seen guys sit and benefit from it. I think Anthony Richardson might have a completely different, couldn't have been any worse if the Colts didn't play him his rookie season as the rawest quarterback ever drafted. That didn't help.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Ohtani, he's going to be the MVP. The PCA argument, I completely understand. If he ends up winning it, I'm not going to be surprised. And I do think it'll be somewhat of the fatigue as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking back, Tom, you and I, 10 years and talking about a player in baseball doing what Ohtani's doing and not winning the MVP. I mean, it seems crazy to me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We are are back here, LatiNation Football Club, my friends. Continúo cotorreando con Camila Ortiz, and it is time to talk about women football femenil. Camila, let's get down with the most important thing happening this year in women's football. El Mundial Femenil 2027 is happening. We're already getting ready for it, and the U.S. national team is gearing up. They are one of the favorites. They have to work really hard to become again the leader, head and shoulders above the rest. They haven't been able to prove that. A lot of teams are gaining ground of them. Tell me, how have they been performing lately, and what can we expect in the future from them?
Yes, absolutely. We know head coach Emma Hayes is really, trying to prep the U.S. women's national team to be the best they can coming into the 2027 World Cup. If we take a quick look at the last couple, performances of the U.S. women's national team, we know that in April, they played against Japan, beating them in the first game 1-0. The U.S. coming back for that second match, beating them 3-0 again. In early June, the U.S. women's national team had a friendly against Brazil in Brazil, and we know that they lost both of those games. It made me feel a little bit shaky how the team is going into the World Cup, but at the end of the day, we have the biggest friendly, in my opinion, going into the World Cup in October. The U.S. women's national team will be facing the World Cup champions from the past World Cup, Spain. This is, I think the most important friendly game going into the World Cup. The Spanish national team is incredibly strong. They have the Ballon d'Or winner. They have the top players, women players in the entire, world right now. So I think how the U.S. women's national team is able to play, and for me, able to defend against, one of the, I think, honestly, the toughest offense in the entire women's game. I think this is going to be a crucial match.
I heard that there was a couple of injuries in the teams that are now changing the planning for this season on the way to the World Cup. Tell me about it.
Yes, unfortunately, a lot of the key players for the U.S. women's national team have suffered injuries. We know in August 2026, so this month, Rose Lavelle unfortunately went through a head injury. She is still going through evaluation, so that's always a scare. Hopefully, we got our fingers crossed. Hopefully, and probably she's going to be good for the World Cup. But Emily Sonnet, one of the toughest and best defenders for Gotham FC in the NWSL, which was the champion last season, ruled out for the remainder of the NWSL season. She suffered a non-contact knee injury. She's going to have to go through surgery, and we know that is going to be, surgery on the knee is a very, very long recovery. So it's not certain whether she's going to be ready for the U.S. women's for the World Cup.
Two big blows, but you bring in WSL to the conversation, Camila. So let's take a look at the standings so you can tell us what's been happening right there. Gotham FC, the current champions, are back at the top.
Absolutely. We know Gotham. I mean, they've always been a really, really strong squad. Last season, they barely made it into playoffs and won the whole thing. It was incredible to watch. Gotham actually playing my favorite, my team, ACFC, tying this weekend.
Oof.
Yes,
Oof,
I know.
And recontra, oof.
Of course, obviously I hoped that ACFC would come through with the win, but hey, tying against the first place team is not that bad. Next up, we have Washington Spirit, obviously an incredibly strong team. They came in second place last season, losing to Gotham for the second championship in a row, coming in second place. Of course, they're back with a healthy Trinity Rodman, which makes all the difference. Portland Thorns, another incredibly strong team. Utah Royals, who is the underdog this season, sitting comfortably in fourth place. Last season, they were towards the bottom half, didn't even make it to the playoffs, and they have had a complete revival. North Carolina Courage, always a strong and classic team. San Diego Wade, which has become, what ACFC was supposed to be, sitting in sixth place. Seventh place, we have Kansas City Currents, a team that, was doing really, really well, 1 or 2 seasons ago. We know that they have the strongest fan base for sure in the entire NWSL. Doing okay so far. Seattle Reign in 8th place, and of course, ACFC in 9th place, because they never seem to be,
At least they're within the top 10.
At least they're within the top 10, but they never seem to be up there. We have Houston Dash, Orlando Pride, of course, with Marta, doing okay.
Surprising to see them on that place of the competition.
Exactly. Yeah. Not only do they have Marta, but they have Banda, who is an incredible forward for the team, scoring so many goals a game. So that was a little bit disappointing. Denver Summit, one of the 2 new teams at least they're not in last place, racing Louisville, Bay, who unfortunately had a strong start to the season, but was just not able to keep it up. Boston Legacy, another brand new team coming in, not doing well.
They're struggling there. They're struggling Boston to get a holding, and Chicago, that unlike the men in the city, they're not faring very well in this competition. Cami, thank you so much. Unfortunately, nos quedamos sin tiempo. We ran out of time, my friends, but we'll be back next week on Más Futbol right here on LatiNation Football Club. Camila, final words?
Just go watch all the football that you can this weekend.
Eso, vamos a ver fútbol. See you guys next week. This is LatiNation Football Club.
It's usually a two-horse race. Houston or Jacksonville, with Indy on the outside looking in. We're going to find out, I think, rather quickly in the first month, because the scheduling is absolutely brutal this year. And do yourself a favor. Now is the time to start prepping. You talk about contests, Craig, right? Survivor is all about planning.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
I do not think that history suggests the best thing for a quarterback is to start week one. Obviously, you need reps, but we have seen guys sit and benefit from it. I think Anthony Richardson might have a completely different, couldn't have been any worse if the Colts didn't play him his rookie season as the rawest quarterback ever drafted. That didn't help.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Ohtani, he's going to be the MVP. The PCA argument, I completely understand. If he ends up winning it, I'm not going to be surprised. And I do think it'll be somewhat of the fatigue as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine looking back, Tom, you and I, 10 years and talking about a player in baseball doing what Ohtani's doing and not winning the MVP. I mean, it seems crazy to me.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.